Ain't no halo on his head, just a pistol by the bed. Trying to keep my demons fed without ending up dead. Mama said the Lord listens when a man's in pain, but he's quiet sometimes when you call his name. Bills keep coming and the good jobs fade. You do what you gotta do, this is where my family's gonna stay. So I load that steel and whisper a prayer. Forgive me, Lord, but this is how I can make it fair. I got hopes and prayers riding with me tonight, trying to make it home before I lose my life. If I cross that line just to keep my faith, will you still hear me when I bow my head? Yeah, I'm caught somewhere between wrong and right. Hollow points and prayers keep me alive tonight. Every man got lines he swore he'd hold, but hunger and fear makes even a saint go cold. Got friends behind bars who never meant harm, just stood their ground. Now time's tattooed on their arm. They call us rough, they call us bad, but they ain't walked the miles we had. So I keep that Bible on the nightstand there, and a loaded gun just to say my prayers. I got hot points and prayers riding with me tonight, trying to make it home before I lose my life. If I cross that line just to keep my faith, will you still hear me when I bow my head? I'm caught somewhere between wrong and right. Hollow points and prayers keep me alive tonight. I don't wanna fight, I don't wanna fall, but I ain't watching my family lose it all. If I drop to my knees before or after the fight, either way, Lord, you know my side. I got hollow points and prayers riding with me tonight, trying to make it home before I lose my life. If I cross that line just to keep my faith, will you still hear me when I bow my head? And when I'm gone, lay me down right between hollow points and prayers tonight. Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house ain't no cookies for Santa, cause Daddy passed out. Mama in her slippers with a Marlboro light, and her porch light flickered like a fire last night. Yeah, it's that trailer park Christmas, baby.
That trailer park Christmas, huh? Interesting. What's going on, guys? It's your favorite Cosmic Warrior. Back at you with another Galactic Transmission. You know, it's been an interesting rising. And I just figured I'd share some of it with you. Oh, so first thing I did, I opened my eyes. Then, I probably readjusted my balls. And then, TMI. All right, fine. We'll just skip to the good part. So, I was seeing a lot about some things that are going on around the world, right? And if anyone's been paying attention to what's happening in Canada, if anyone heard about the ostrich farm that, you know, the government came in and they killed all the ostriches, right? And they did it under the pretense of, you know, they had a flu, right? But, you know, the math doesn't add up, right? The math doesn't add up. And, you know, okay, so say hypothetically that these animals did have, you know, the virus and they're all contagious, right? Well, which there was present at the farm because they did end up losing a lot of ostriches, right? But the ones that the government came in and killed were not, you know, they weren't infected. They weren't harmed, right? They were perfectly healthy. And the weird part is how the government came and destroyed this person, not only this person's livelihood, right? Destroyed it. And with no proof. They didn't perform any tests on the animals before they executed them, is what they did, you know. But they did it humanely. They had a veterinarian right there and you know, guided the shooters as they shot them. And so, okay, right. But with no proof that they were even affected. Right, okay, but you did it humanely. Oh, okay, great. Good for you. Well, let's talk about what else was happening at this ostrich farm. Well, the ostrich farm was, they were conducting a lot of tests with, I believe, antibodies, right? And this ostrich farm was, you know, they found a way to get rid of COVID with the ostrich, something to do with the ostrich. That's what they were testing, right? That's what they're testing. That's a good thing, right? Well, one would think so. You know, one would also have thought that the doctor, during, you know, the height of COVID, when everything's shut down, because everyone, all the fear-mongering, when everything's shut down, you would think it would be at that point when, you know, the medical professionals, anal professionals, that are there to protect us and keep us healthy, right? Well, there was a doctor, and he cured a whole wing of COVID with nicotine. Wrote a whole report. What happened to that report? It got buried. It got suppressed. It got hidden. What happened to the doctor? He got silenced. Oh, but I thought that we were supposed to be caring about the people. You know, I thought the doctors care about us and they want nothing but the best for our health. And they're there to help us, right? Oh, but at a cost. At a hefty cost. Because, you know, they're false medical schools, you know, cost them a lot. You know, the price of selling your soul isn't cheap either. Replacing natural, God-made things with man-made. Trying to play God. You would think that over so much time we would have learned our lesson, but now history likes to repeat itself. You know, but, you know, the ostriches took them all out. But it's, you know, it was the man's livelihood, his business. They were animals, living beings. They were doing research for a good cause. They weren't infected. You know, it's just, you know, the narratives, the justification for their actions, the justification that they make. Atrocious. Abomination. You know, it happens everywhere. You know, COVID was a widespread scheme. You know, it was a plot. It was a plot. It wasn't, you know, just Fauci and all those other scumbags. You know, it was a lot. And a lot of world leaders, a lot of our world leaders were all in on it. You know, it was a test. It was a test to see how much of our rights and freedoms, that the little that we still have, to see if we would give them up. If we would willingly give them up for a sense of security, for a sense of safeness. You know, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. Fortunately, I was able to see it for what it truly was. I was able to see behind the veils. I was able to see behind the lies, and I never subscribed to any of it, not even for a second. You know, but it's a blessing and a curse. Because you see all these sheep following blindly. Experiments. Willingly participants. That's interesting too. Willing participants. That's what taxes are. According to the IRS, they'll tell you even. Taxes are optional. Optional. Well, why aren't we taught that they're an option? Well, I'm not taught that. You know, I'm taught that if you don't pay your taxes, you get in trouble, right? Isn't that what they force upon us? They beat it into us, right? Comply. Comply with our falsehood. Comply with our lies. Comply with our demands. Well, complying with false demands. That's interesting. People that never seek peace. That's interesting. Where else is that happening in the world right now? People that every time a peaceful solution is brought to the table, they automatically shut it down because, I'm not getting what I want, even though you have no position, no claim to even be claiming anything that is yours. It's interesting, really interesting. And it's interesting who supports those with no claim. It's interesting who supports those with false claims. Known, proven false claims. It's interesting. Compliancy. You know, what's interesting too is, so later on, so things evolve. You know, a lot of the schemes, it's all the same. It's all been going on for so long. They just, they evolve and they change over time. But, over time. Well, so, gosh, when was this? Probably in my early 20s. So you're probably looking at like 15 years ago. I was looking into, the conspiracies into the orphanages and all that. And atrocious. That was really, but when that was happening with the, with the kids then, it was, it was before CPS really came into power. They became a player in protecting the children, right? Protecting them or taking them away from the families, and getting paid to do it, getting paid to falsify statements, to lie, being paid to, and condoned. It's condoned. They condone it legally because they did it legally. You can't legalize fuckery and make it seem okay. Fuckery is still fuckery, no matter how politely you put it. But the orphanages, the atrocities that happen at the orphanages, and count after count, it's those endless stories. Endless stories. I had to stop researching it. It was, disturbing. And it's always the foundations. It's always the people that scream, look at all the good I'm doing for the children. It's always them. It's what else are you doing behind the closed doors, though? What goes on behind the closed doors? A lot of the establishments that are all the programs, it's in theory, and that's how they sell you on it, in theory. They hide the fine print. And the people that find out, but then it's the gatekeepers. It's the gatekeepers. It's the gatekeepers in the positions of power. It gives them that extra, inflated ego. It gives them that extra inflated pair of balls to get away with some of the stuff that they do. Part of it from going so long without being checked. Part of it from being checked but getting away with it because of, who else is involved with the same fuckery. But they evolve over time, and orphanages are really no longer a thing, right? And what do? They put them up in foster cares, right? And a lot of them are through government programs, government funding, right? The crazy part is how much they would charge a parent to pay into the system, right? But then where does the money actually go? The money that the parent actually that puts up, the smallest percentage actually goes to the family. And then, say that the kid's still with the custody of one of the parent. By the time it gets to that one parent, it's already been stomped on so many times. Everyone wants to take their cut. But it's money for the children, right? Oh, but to get the money to the children, we have to have these people to get paid, and then these people to get paid, and then these people to get paid, and these people to get paid. Well, how about we just have people that volunteer their time to do the right thing? Oh, we all got to get paid for it. And then we create positions just to create more positions, and then create more positions to oversee these positions. And of course we need a big government. Of course we do. Of course we need more taxes. Of course we do. In that fucking system, in this fucked up system, of course we do. Checks and balances? Accountability? We should have that too, should we not? It is our right, is it not? But do as we say, not as we do. I'm held accountable. But Uncle Sam can do whatever the fuck he wants. It's not how it was ever intended to be by our forefathers. They would be rolling over in their grave. Then finally, for the first time, they're probably happy because we're slowly getting some of our rights back. You know, getting off of maritime law, going back to natural law. Law of the land, not the law of the sea. The law of the sea, where the souls are lost. The law of the land, when we're grounded in, reigning in heaven into earth. You know, but the systems, you know, the children, you know. But now it's crazy, like, the ways that they get to the children. And the people that protect them. You know, the rabbit hole I went down today is, came up an interview, and it was a hacker, right? This well-known hacker that I'm familiar with. I forget his name, but I see him all the time. Just exposing like the card reader scams, and he just exposes, you know, a lot of stuff on the black web. He just exposes stuff, right? Good man. But today he was talking about the pedos, right? And he was touching upon Roblox, and how, you know, he's showing these groups. There are certain cults and groups, and they operate under there. That's where there's so many million peoples on there, and it seems all harmless, right? But then the crazy part is what the hacker was going into. He was talking, you know, showing proof and stories, not just staking claims, but proof. You know, he has proof of all these groups, and then it's just the blatantly obvious. You know, some of the chats, and then some of the, like, for a premium. I don't know much about Roblox, but my understanding is for the premium account, you get to, like, decorate. And I saw some pictures, and it was like there was no mistaking. It was a cult figure, right? It was a cult figure, and then just the things that they were saying, and it's like red flags, huge red flags. Like, how is this still acceptable? How is this still on there? Make that make sense, right? And then, you know, later on the video, it talks about how not only do they protect the predators, but they go against the vigilantes that are turning in the predators. So we're not going after the bad guys. We're going after the guys that are pointing out the bad guys and trying to protect the children. And they're being treated as the bad guys? Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then it got me thinking. It's like CEO of Roblox. I wonder, would he be part of my favorite little group of people? No, he couldn't. Because those group of people really care about the children. They're holy people. They're religious. They're God's chosen people, right? So they must care about the children. They couldn't, the owner of Roblox could not, CEO of Roblox could not possibly be part of that group of people. That religious group. Oh, of course he is. Of course he is. Am I surprised? Not one bit. All these protectors! Who do they have ties to? What religious group? It's by coincidence? I think fucking not. But the interesting part too is they make profit. They make it a safe haven and they profit off of it. You know, he profits off of them being there, of it being a cesspool, a safe haven cesspool. He profits off of it. You know, it's crazy too how, like, but, you know, we would talk about, the interviewer talked about how he brought up Roblox and showed the proof to some of the parents, and some of the parents still allowed their children to play it. Well, that's negligence, is it not? You know, the safe havens, though, it's the fucker. People are too comfortable in the fuckery. There's so many, you know. But part of that too is, you know, you got to think, you know, with the whole Epstein case, right? Anyone that's in part of that team, I don't envy them at all, because they have to, the stuff that they have to watch. It has to take a toll. It's got to. You know, but to actually bring forth charges, you know, it all has to be reviewed. And not just by one person. But of course, they use it as blackmail. So of course the tapes are all out there, and there's a lot of them. My favorite group of people. That's what they do. It's interesting. My mind just went to the Me Too movement, right? But what happened? But what happened to protect the children? What happened to that movement? What's interesting too is New Hampshire. The state, live free or die. That's the state's motto, right? And I was always aware that the facts. The facts say that New Hampshire is a safe haven for pedos. Because the facts say that New Hampshire has the most amount of unregistered offenders. The most amount. Which, when I found that out, it's like, shit, I was not proud to be this part of this state. Like, what the fuck? That's not a category you want to be number one in. And then it's no wonder why Maxwell, she went to go hide in, up at Lake Winnipesaukee. Cabin out there. Why do you feel so safe in New Hampshire though? It's like, why? Well, what are the laws that are making it? You know what I mean? What is it? Lack of repercussions? A slap on the wrist? Well, we pretty much just give people slaps on the wrist for grape anyways. We lock people away for longer for driving offenses. We lock people away for longer for getting caught with some smoke. We throw them away for that. We throw the book at them for that. But heavens forbid, you get caught driving with a suspended license, throw away the key, right? But no, you want to go grape someone? Sure. You want to get caught with some CP? Sure. Slap on the wrist. Make that make sense. These are the laws. These are the people that our laws protect. Well, who put these laws into effect? So what does it say about the people anyone that has a signature on any of those bills, anyone that voted yes? What does that tell you about them? Either you're stupid and you don't do your research and you're an idiot. You're supposed to be doing your research. Even if you have a whole team that does research, right, before you co-sign something. Well, did you not do your research? Or do you just not care about the children? Do you not just care about what the fuck's going on? Do you just not care? Well, which is it? We have a system that puts hundreds of pages, a bill worth of hundreds of pages, and puts it in front to vote on hours before. Make that make sense. Where's the proper allotted time? Well, that's not really smart, is it? You study before a test, right? Oh, but when we're voting about what to do with taxpayer money and other people's lives, no need to research it. It's a good thing. Trust me. Just sign right here and trust me. These fucking systems, man. How do you not have destruction in a society that's built upon these systems? How do you not? It's impossible. And it seems equally impossible to have a healthy growing society with a system as corrupt as this. With a system designed for failure, enslavement, destruction. But it was interesting too, right? So, the Roblox came up, right? And then, the last night during the live, there was that random dick rider that was nonstop on my YouTube, right? I don't pay attention when I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. I'm not even paying attention to the chat. Like when I get a breaking point every night, I'll glance at it, right? But I'm not paying attention to what the fuck's going on there. And the dude's spamming it, right? And then I just saw some of the false accusations, and it was, I just had to laugh. I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, I don't even know you're, like, under some fake name and this and that. It's like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. You think I'm gonna stop what I'm doing to entertain you? It's like, you're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind. You're clearly wasting your Friday night. I'm not. I'm donating my time. I'm donating it. I'm giving it away. You think I'm gonna, you know what I mean? It's, what the fuck? But, you know, I went through and I was looking at some of the shit today, right? Just out of curiosity. It was kind of humorous. There was a lot of accusations. None of it factual. None of it had nothing to prove. It had nothing. It wasn't saying a whole lot of nonsense. It was a whole lot of nonsense. Oh, where did I put it? Where was it? Okay. Oh, the dick riders are back with the misinformation warning. Oh, man. You know what's funny too is looking at this. It's like I only glanced at it real quick earlier, but now I'm looking at it now. It's like call me dumb, call me dumb, call me dumb, call me dumb, and it's like amazing how you could come up so fast off of a fake tarot readings. It's like, well, which is it? Am I dumb or am I coming up fast? Well, which is it? I can't be that dumb if I'm coming up fast. But then again, it's like, where's the fake part too? Where's the fake news? Oh, it's on your end, not on mine. What else? Talking to, you know, but it's just funny. It's like all these comments thinking that I sit on my live just to watch and wait for insignificant person's fucking name to pop up with a message so that I can respond to it. Yeah, it's I come on here on my Friday night just waiting, hoping that some loser bored, has nothing better to do and hates their life comes on a Friday night so I can sit there and chat with them. I was really hoping for it. What the fuck? It's like, make it make sense. It's like, God, this person clearly hates their life too. Clearly had nothing better to do than to hop on my shit. It's like, not even going to state your name, not even going to state like any real facts. And it clearly doesn't know much about the process and how I work and how I operate. Because it's like the comments are just like, you clearly have no idea about how I do anything. It must be your first time here. Oh, it was funny too, talking about suing me and blah, 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 blah. RICO, terrorist, treason, pedo. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I think I'll get banned if I say that word. But I'm not going to say that. Call me a Trump, Epstein gang. What else? A whole lot. It was funny. It was funny. You know, it's interesting. You know, but that got me thinking. You know, but it was when I was looking back through there, I was thinking, it's like, you know, I used to always give the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? I used to always give the benefit of the doubt. But I kind of stopped doing it. Right? And it's like, well, who would really be that upset? Who would be that upset and hop on my shit on a Friday night, waste their time? Because it was all it was a waste of their time, right? Who would do that? Well, could be someone that's really butthurt. And it's like, okay, how did I piss you off? Show me on the chart where my words hurt your feelings. Go ahead, show me. Or it's he called me what did he call me again? A fake reader. It's like, okay, so did I expose you? Are you into some fuckery and I exposed you? You know, what did you accuse me of? Some of those things you accused me of. Well, if you're pointing that finger at me, how many more of those fingers are pointing back at you? Interesting. Interesting. You know, it's so, out of curiosity, I typed the name in. All right, I typed the name into YouTube just to see if I could find the channel. Find his. I don't even know if it's him or her. I don't know. It was fake picture. It's a fake picture. It's all fake, right? But out of curiosity, I looked it up, and you know, one of the first things that started popping up Roblox videos. And it's like, it wasn't under that name, but still, I don't believe in coincidences. You know, earlier, you know, this Rising, I'm watching those videos, the hacker, all those videos are coming up, talking about, you know what I mean, the Preds that are on Roblox. And is it a coincidence that this Dick Rider was on my shit and then stating all these things, and then it's like, sounds like you might be part of one of the groups I'm exposing. I don't believe in coincidences, and you know, could it just be a coincidence? Sure, could. But who wastes their time like that with coming in with no facts under a false name? And it's just like, but the funny part is like it's so cute that they thought I was going to take the time out of my life just to stop and have a nice little conversation with them and to deny their claims. And that's cute. It's cute that they thought that I cared that much about their opinion. It's cute, false, but it's cute. It's adorable. Whatever lie they have to tell themselves so they can sleep at night. And it's sure. I hope you sleep well, Buttercup. Right? But it really is. It's so large. The scale of like the amount of people that a lot of our friends, family members, people in our society that you wouldn't even think, part of these groups. Of course they're going to hate on the terror community, of course. Well, all the falsehood will. Because, just by being us, just by showing up and being ourselves, we're naturally gonna root out the fakes. It's going to be quite obvious who's faking it and who's not. Right? But at the same time, we're calling out the truth. We're not going to sit there and just, tell you what you want to hear so I can suck you dry. And so I'm going to tell you what the fuck it is. And most of the time, you're probably going to get pissed off and you might not want to come back for a while until you reevaluate and it's like, damn, it's like, that's true. Right? But that's the point you have to get at. And I know that, and so I'm not going to waste my time. I come in, I say what I got to say. I'm not, I'll try to soften the blow a little bit, but it is what it is. The message is the message. The truth is the truth. What's the point of trying to, make it look all pretty? It is what it is, and it's not always pretty. But the ugly truth is, we've created safe havens, cesspools, everywhere. Whole communities, everywhere. It's sad. It's sad. But, yeah. I don't know. So, yeah. That's what I got. How you guys doing? Oh, you know what's interesting too, though? I'll get into that. Here, let me show you this real quick. This popped up on my news feed from. That was 12 years ago. That was me, my son, and my son's brother. And now that was a house I haven't thought about in a while. Let me share that story with you guys. So that house I lived with my brother John, the one that passed away from an OD. He was a salesman. He was a smooth talker. And he met this guy, Steve, I think he was knocking on his door trying to sell him something, right? And that's how he met Steve. And then he ended up moving in and living with Steve. And then, when was this? This was probably like around 2010, somewhere around then, in that ballpark. But so John moved in there with him, and then Steve had like an in-law apartment out back. It was I had a bedroom with a full bath attached to it, no kitchen, but it just had a full bath attached to the bathroom. And then I had a little like living room, and then a slider that goes onto the porch, and then I had a door that went into the main house so I could go use the kitchen and stuff, right? But I mostly just stayed in the in-law apartment to myself. But Aiden's dad lived in the neighborhood behind that house there. So we could actually kind of we could go up the road and around, or just walk through the woods. But the bus stop was actually, I was on the main road, he lived in a neighborhood out back. And so when they would go up to walk his kids up, it was right on the end of the road, and I was 2 houses down from it. So I could always see every now and then him out there. But the interesting part about that is, so me and him became friends then, right? But back when he was dating my son's mother, well, same son's mother, right? But she used to play us against each other and try to get us to hate each other, even though we had no reason to. It's just because, well, I don't know. She probably knew that if we understood what was going on, you know what I mean? She made herself look bad. It was really easy. You don't have to try to make her look bad. She does it herself. It's just, don't do anything. Just sit back and wait. She'll lie and expose her lies just by speaking. So let her talk. Let her keep talking. Go ahead, keep talking. Dig yourself a bigger hole, right? But, once me and him realized that, I already knew she was crazy. He just had to get to the point of realizing that too. And then we started communicating with each other. Because it's my son's brother, right? And so, but neither one of us want to deal with this crazy bitch. So we would deal with each other. And we would meet up, and I would meet up with him so our kids could hang out. Because screw her, I would eliminate her out of the picture. I only talk to you when I have to deal with my son. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to deal with you. If unless it has to do with my son, we don't talk. I didn't wish ill upon her, but I don't care. You know what I mean? As long as it's not affecting my son, I wish you the best, but stay the fuck away from me. But me and him would link up, and we would get the kids together. But that apartment, Steve, that was interesting too. So John, I had a couch and a bunk bed set up in the living room, and my son slept out there, and Steve liked boys, and Steve had some medical issues, right? Steve had some medical issues, and he would have these. They were adults, right? They were adults, but he would have them over, and I don't know what he was paying them. But he was paying them money, and to get what he wanted out of it, right? And these kids, I don't know, they did it. They must have did it, because they kept coming over, and they were always happy. I don't know, whatever. It wasn't my business. I just stayed in my apartment, and right? It wasn't, my interactions with Steve wasn't bad, but I knew what was going on behind the scenes. It's like, I'm not stupid, right? But, I was actually out cutting down a Christmas tree with my family, and I got a phone call saying that, did he have a stroke first, or did he just collapse? He might have had a stroke. He might have had a stroke. I don't remember, but I know that we were cutting the tree down when I got the message saying that he passed away, right? And then it went from, I was living there, my brother John was living there, my, childish brother Tim was living with us too, right? And Steve passed away, family came right in immediately, and they started just tearing the house apart. And then people came in, they were trying to kick us out immediately. It's like, hold on, we got a lease. It was unfortunate, everything, but it's like, you're not just going to kick me right out. I have a lease and everything, I'm all paid up, right? So they tried to get us kicked out, but they couldn't do anything about that. But all the utilities got cut off, right? So I was the oldest living there, and so I had all the bills put into my name. Racked up, the heat was all electric heaters and everything, so that electric bill was high as fuck. It was high as fuck. Well, that's all we're using, and it was under my name. And You know, I ate all that. It's whatever. I did it for my brothers, right? But it's ungratefulness, and it's just like Tim was always like that. Tim's just a slob and ungrateful and just childish. But you know, it's interesting. Every time I've lived with Tim, it never ended well. It never ended well. It was always a disruption to me because it's just he's just sloppy, and he idolized me and wants to be like me and this and that, but it's like you're nothing like me. If I idolize you, if you idolize me so much when I'm asking you to do things, just that it's not what am I asking so much of? I'm asking you to clean up your own fucking mess. I have to tell you that? I shouldn't have to fucking tell you that. But that's interesting too. It's interesting too. The next person, when I gave up my job to take full custody of my son, I ended up moving in with Tim. And Tim was living with this gay dude, Bucci. And Bucci was just a slob. Yeah, it has nothing to do with his sexual orientation. I didn't care. That doesn't have to do with his sexual orientation. Just stay in your lane. Don't hit on me. Don't stay in your lane. But he was just a slob. He gave like a gamer. He was like stereotypical like gamer dude. Like his room, my God, you need a bulldozer for the amount of trash that was in there. I saw it inside of there once, and it was like, holy shit. This dude had like a griddle set up in his room. So he had a couch that he would play his video games on. Sit on the couch. He had his whole TV, then his computer over there, and they would literally be sitting there cooking his food. And he wouldn't even have to get off the couch to cook his food. And then a trash can right there, and it just smelled like bacon grease and just trash everywhere. And it was just a slob. But that's just how he was. What did he do for a living? He drove around, and he drove for those places that pick up samples from hospitals, blood samples, and samples that need to be tested and stuff like that. And so all he does is he sits in his car and he eats his fast food and sits at home and eats his bacon and drinks his whatever, and it's just like slobbish. It's just like, damn. Not a bad person, good heart, but damn, this is how you choose to live? Like, it's just I don't know. It's just not me, Not me. But he fit along perfect with Tim. I was the only one that ever cleaned in that apartment. Anywhere I've ever lived with Tim. And that's why I didn't want him. The last time I didn't want him to live with me. But I kicked my son out of his room. I made my son go make a room out of the second living room so that I could give my brother, my ungrateful brother, a room with the door that's shut. My brother, though, would come back and brag about all the money he made in tips. Yet when I asked him about the 2 months behind you're on rent, I wouldn't go up to my room. The same brother that, it's funny is he tried pulling some alpha card on this dude that his last apartment they got kicked out of, right? And that's why he moved in with me, because he was going to be homeless. And don't you care about me? I'm your brother. But this dude that he used to stronghold him and stuff. It's like, you're going to do everything my way. It's some real weird sadistic kind of like, a sense of authority. But of course, look at him. Through my connections, he got his way into, becoming a security guard. And look at me, I'm Tim, I'm a security guard. I have a title and I'm authority. I can say, no, you cannot come in here because I'm a prissy little bitch, right? But he would flex on that. But when it came time to do his job, to actually assert his position, and to kick out an unruly drunk or something, where was he? Nowhere to be found, asking the bartenders to do it for him? Like, come on, bro, come on. Where's your man card? That's right, you lost it. Did you ever have it? Titles, man. The titles that people like get to their head. The sense of, it's funny too, it's like there was this chick that, she came to me crying to me. I was messing with her for a little bit, right? Then cut her off. But she came to me crying to me about my brother kicking her out. But I know her and I know her behavior. But I also know my brother. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they were both at fault for whatever. It's like, well, tell me what happened. Tell me your point of view. And then it's like, well, I was calling her out on her shit. He's like, you're in the wrong. Like, the fuck? And then you thought you were just going to drop my name and it was going to get you. First off, you don't even know my relationship with my own brother. And then, you know what I mean? It's awfully bold to think it was going to work how you thought it would. Right? It didn't. And then to think that I'm going to go and, even if my relationship with my brother was good and I wanted to, it's, you're out of order. You're out of line. Yeah, he permanently banned her. Overstep. Should have just kicked her out for the night. Yeah, within a just cause, right? But it's, he thought that he could, he'd puff in his chest and flexing his authority, and then thought he was going to get to me in some way because he was banning some chick I was used to mess with. And it's just like, people are silly. People are silly. But accountability, people don't like accountability. I hold myself pretty accountable. That's the funny part too, is, people don't want to try to call me out on stuff. It's okay. It's probably nothing I haven't already talked about openly, willingly, freely. But if you want to talk about stuff, let's talk about stuff. What story you want to bring up? Because I probably remember some other parts of that story. What are you leaving out? But accountability. My mind's going full circle back to accountability with, just everything. Society. Where's the accountability? Why do we make places a safe haven? Why? In my mind, there's only one reason why we would have laws that protect them. There's only one reason why we would make anywhere a safe place for them. Because you're one too. Because you condone it. In my opinion, your silence says a fucking lot. But the way that you vote things says a lot too. Accountability. But it's funny because a lot of people want accountability. They want people held to accountability from false accusations, from nothing founded upon any facts, nothing factual. But they want to. If we get enough people spreading the same lie and pointing fingers at the same person, it changes the facts. No, it doesn't. A lie is still a fucking lie. And the truth is still the truth. No matter if you like it or not, the truth is the truth. And most of the times, the truth is pretty fucking ugly. If for full accountability, truth is ugly as fuck. It's real. It's raw. It's authentic. It's the truth and nothing but. We need to get back to that.